And joining me now to discuss is State Department spokesperson Tammy Bruce, live in studio. First appearance here on the set. Yes. Tammy, thank you very much for being here with us today.
What a pleasure to be here with you, and congratulations. Great show, a great weekend information. Appreciate it.
Thank you
for the invitation.
Thank you very much, and congratulations on your new gig, too. All right, so we talked about the dust-up, the alleged dust-up between Rubio and Elon Musk. So I just want to ask you what the real deal is before we get into...
Well, it is important. As the president said, he was there, right? I wasn't personally there, but I think when you understand the Trump administration, because we really didn't see any of this during the Biden administration, there were no cabinet meetings, is that there are conversations, there are meetings, and we certainly, and I noted also when asked, because I know what comes out of those meetings, that was a productive meeting. It was universally discussed by everyone who was present, that this was something that was positive, that this is a dynamic that happens with men and women who they're running the free world, and it's clearly the American people see what the result is. When these people have gotten together, this is what they voted for, which are great minds in this country to make a determination about how we're going to proceed. So there was no dust up, right? There's conversations, but it was certainly a very productive and beneficial meeting, and that's something everyone agreed with.
All right. And so how do the secretaries feel about Musk and Rubio specifically, if you can?
Well, I don't know what they think, right? I do know, but one thing that we do see is we know what the American people think, right? We see at poll after poll, they like what's happening because that's what they voted for in November. They knew clearly that what has been happening was unacceptable. The quality of life was declining. Crime was increasing. The southern border was disappeared. The world was at war. And the nature of Donald Trump, and he's always been honest and transparent, we knew that what he was promising, which was security, but also the economy had to be dealt with, and America had to get back on her feet. We knew what we were capable of. We knew that what had happened to us over the last 4 years was unacceptable, and he promised to change this. And that is what's happening. The waste, fraud, and abuse in the government, the nature of safety here in America when it comes to immigration, but crime in general, law and order, and the American people coming first. And when that happens, the world benefits as well.
Well, speaking about immigration, we want to ask you about the deportation flights to Venezuela because they resumed today, and I think we have some video of some of what has happened and what is happening today. What do you make of President Maduro saying he agreed to a deal to safeguard the human rights of those being deported? That has been a major issue in this regard.
Well, of course, we know about his statement. There was a statement of the regime, and that's good news. All right, this is something that was his responsibility. He knew that what we were demanding, and as we have in general for countries around the world, is that they have a responsibility to repatriate their citizens who are in this country illegally and have committed criminal acts. And so this is something that we were hoping we would see again, and we apparently will. And so we need to see that implemented into real action. So we're excited about it. It's appropriate, and it was his responsibility, and now they're going to do it. So we want to see that happen. But it also, I can add, Laura, that this cannot be a one-off situation. This is clearly a dynamic that has to continue, considering that TDA, the gang, has been declared a foreign terrorist organization, the nature of the criminality that these gangs have been implementing against the American citizens. So we're looking forward to this getting back on speed.
Yeah, with the State Department declaring them as terrorists. That's correct. As we move forward, what do you make about the judge pushing back and trying to dig into essentially the flight logs to find out exactly who was on those flights? I mean, this is an ongoing battle right now. What can you tell us about that?
Well, we know that the White House has said, and President Trump has said, that this is, their business. It's the executive power framework. But beyond that, certainly I can't speak to ongoing litigation or the nature of what's happening there. But it will play out, and there have been many discussions about what's appropriate for a judge to do and what's not. But in the meantime, this is I think, very basic dynamic of what the executive power and the promise to keep Americans safe is dealing with obvious gang members, obvious criminals, the right for us to be able to move these people out of this country. Keep in mind that every sovereign nation has a right and a responsibility to determine who comes into their country and whether or not they are allowed to stay if they come in with some false reasons or illegally. And that is all we're doing here. So it's good news that we have this being implemented. We'll see it play out through the courts. And President Trump and his team clearly have an argument that they're making, and we'll see what happens.
Thanks for watching. Go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your screen. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.